What if I told you that in just 90 days you could become completely unrecognizable, not just to the world, but to yourself? Not in theory, not someday, but right now, starting exactly where you are, with the pain, the doubt, the silence no one sees. Because the truth is, you don't need a new year, a new job, or a new relationship to start over. You just need one thing: a moment of radical honesty. One moment where you stop performing the life you've outgrown and begin building the one you were meant to live. There's something deeply stoic about this kind of transformation: quiet, grounded, unshakable. It's not about the noise or the flash. It's about discipline, clarity, and identity. In the next few minutes, we'll break down exactly how to rebrand yourself from the inside out, how to build micro-habits that rewire your mind, and how to glow up in a way that transforms not just how others see you, but how you see yourself, permanently. So if you've ever felt trapped inside the shell of who you used to be, if you've been waiting for a sign to begin again, this is it. And if you're ready to take that step, to trade comfort for clarity, distraction for discipline, and noise for meaning, then please subscribe and join the journey of becoming someone you're proud to meet. Let's begin. Most people wait for a spark, a lightning bolt of motivation to strike before they make a change, but that's not how it works. Transformation doesn't begin with inspiration. It begins with confrontation. A quiet, uncomfortable moment when you stop lying to yourself and look at your life in the face without flinching. Not just the parts you're proud of, not just the highlights you show to others, but the corners you avoid, the ones that ache when the distractions fade. The truth is, we all carry stories about who we are, and often they're outdated, inherited, safe. But those stories become the walls that trap us in the version of ourselves we've long since outgrown. You don't fix a life by decorating it. You fix it by auditing it. And that requires a level of honesty most people aren't ready for. But you are. That's why you're here. So start with this. What are you pretending not to see? What are you tolerating simply because it's familiar? The way your energy sinks around certain people. The way you talk about your goals more than you act on them. The quiet dread on Sunday nights that you cover up with Netflix or scrolling or busy work. These aren't small details. They are signals, warnings from within. And ignoring them doesn't make them go away. It just delays the crash. You don't need more time. You need truth. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If someone can prove me wrong and show me my mistake, I will gladly change. It's the truth I'm after." That's the mindset you need. Not defensiveness, not self-justification, but an unshakable hunger for what is real. Because only from truth can change be born. Most people will tell you to start with your vision, to dream big, write goals, create mood boards. But what good is a vision built on denial? If your foundation is fragile, it doesn't matter how beautiful the future looks on paper, it will collapse. So instead, start with an audit. 3 simple columns. What's working, what's not, and what has to change, not in theory, but in practice, starting now. Don't overthink it. Don't dress it up. Just name it. Name the habits that leave you empty, the choices that lead nowhere, the patterns that feel like comfort but breed regret. You can't change what you won't confront, and you can't confront what you refuse to name. You're not here to beat yourself up. You're here to stop avoiding the obvious. Growth doesn't mean tearing yourself apart. It means telling yourself the truth and finally acting on it. There's power in that, dignity, because once you stop defending the past, you start designing the future. And the future needs you clear, not perfect, just real. The habits you've outgrown are not evidence of failure. They are proof you're evolving. The friendships that drain you, not bad people, just old mirrors reflecting a version of you that no longer fits. The dreams that used to light you up but now feel empty. That's not confusion. That's clarity breaking through the noise. Think about how much energy it takes to pretend, to maintain a life that looks okay on the outside but quietly aches on the inside. That energy could build something real, something solid, but only if you're willing to reallocate it, to stop managing impressions and start managing yourself. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." That's why this process matters, because every excuse you make is a rehearsal for staying the same, and every uncomfortable truth you admit is a doorway to who you could be if you stopped getting in your own way. This isn't a one-time exercise. It's a lifestyle, a practice of returning to what's true, especially when it's inconvenient, especially when it costs comfort. But that's where real strength is built, not in ease, but in exposure. You'll know you're doing it right when it stings a little, when you feel like you've just stepped outside without armor, vulnerable, raw, uncertain. That's not weakness, that's honesty, and it's rare. It means you're no longer hiding behind half-truths or habits that numb. It means you're ready. This first step, this audit, it's the gateway. Everything that comes next will be built on this foundation. So take it seriously. Do it slowly. Sit in the discomfort if you have to. Let it hurt a little. That pain is not punishment. It's data. It's guidance. It's the beginning of a new contract with yourself, one based on clarity instead of comfort. You don't need more motivation. You need less avoidance, less noise, less pretending. Because the moment you finally stop running from what you already know, that's when everything begins to shift. That's when the rebrand starts, not in public, but in private. Not when people applaud, but when you can finally face the mirror and say, "I'm ready." Not to perform, not to impress, but to become. And that is where transformation truly begins. Most people try to change their lives from the inside out, but often the outside is where the real work begins. Look around you. Really look. Your environment is a mirror of your mental state. The stacks of papers you haven't dealt with, the clothes you no longer wear but refuse to let go of, the unopened books that once symbolized hope but now gather dust. They're not just clutter, they're reminders of decisions you haven't made, of versions of you that no longer exist but you're still holding on to. It's not about minimalism for the sake of aesthetics. It's about removing the noise so you can finally hear yourself think. Because the more you tolerate disorder in your space, the more you normalize it in your identity, and slowly, without realizing it, you start becoming someone who lives surrounded by the past when you're trying to build a future. Every item in your space either serves you or slows you down. And the truth is, most of what surrounds us today was brought in by an older version of ourselves, a version with different priorities, different pain, and different blind spots. You might not see it right away, but every object you hang on to out of guilt, every unnecessary tab left open, every drawer full of forgotten things, they all send a quiet message to your mind. We're not ready to move forward yet. Seneca once wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." And that's the trick of clutter. It tricks your brain into believing that you're overwhelmed, when in truth, you're just avoiding decisions. A closet full of clothes you never wear feels like possibility, but it's really avoidance. A kitchen filled with food you don't actually eat feels like comfort, but it's distraction. That pile of books you never touch, it's not wisdom, it's guilt wrapped in dust. This isn't about becoming a monk. It's about sending a signal to your subconscious that the person you were, the one who bought all these things to feel better, to feel seen, to feel safe, is no longer in charge. That person was doing the best they could with what they had, but they are not who you are becoming. The purge isn't punishment, it's release. It's the act of honoring your past self while clearing the runway for who you're meant to be next. When you start letting go of physical items that no longer align, something strange happens. Your thoughts get quieter, your choices get clearer, and your days start to breathe. You don't need more to become more. You need less of what numbs you, less of what delays you, less of what reinforces the version of you you're working so hard to outgrow. And that doesn't mean stripping everything away. It means being intentional. It means asking, does this item move me forward, or does it tie me to who I used to be? Most people never ask that question. They just carry everything forward, not because it serves them, but because it's familiar. But the familiar can become a trap when you forget it was meant to be temporary. Clean out your kitchen, not just to make space, but to start choosing fuel over comfort. Empty your inbox, not just for productivity, but to stop letting unread messages whisper, "You're falling behind." Cancel that one subscription you keep meaning to, not just to save money, but to stop feeding the cycle of mindless consumption. These may seem like small acts, but they carry weight. They build momentum. They tell your nervous system, we're not stuck anymore, we're moving, slowly, deliberately, forward. Carl Jung once said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own souls." But sometimes the path to facing yourself starts by cleaning your desk. It's symbolic, because when you take control of your environment, you take the first step in reclaiming your agency. This is why the Stoics emphasized simplicity. Not because they believed in suffering, but because they believed in clarity. A clear space gives rise to a clear mind, and a clear mind can endure, decide, and create. You don't have to do it all at once. Don't aim for perfection, aim for alignment. Start with one drawer, one shelf, 1 hour. As you clear the space, something begins to shift in your psychology. You start to realize you don't need the external noise to feel full. You just need presence. And presence is what emerges when the unnecessary is removed. Not because you forced yourself to go without, but because you chose to make room for what truly matters. This isn't about becoming someone new. It's about removing the layers that hide who you already are. And that process of physically letting go becomes the ritual that marks the beginning of the internal transformation. The environment around you is the stage your future self will perform on. Prepare it, make it ready, make it worthy, not for appearance but for integrity. When you walk into your space and it reflects where you're going, not where you've been, your identity starts to catch up. You start making decisions differently. You stand a little taller. You stop second-guessing whether you're changing too much, too fast, because suddenly you feel it, you see it, you live inside it. Rebranding yourself doesn't start with big declarations. It starts here, with the quiet act of cleaning, clearing, and choosing again. You are signaling to your mind that we are no longer surviving in the ruins of old identities. We are building something new, and for that there must be space, there must be order, there must be discipline, not to restrict you, but to liberate you, because clarity is the soil where confidence grows. And the first place to plant that clarity is right in front of you. Most people think changing their body is about how they look, but real transformation starts when you use your body to prove something much deeper, that you can decide and follow through. Not once, not when it's easy, not when someone is watching, but every day, quietly, especially when no one notices. You don't need a six-pack. You need evidence. Evidence that your word means something to you. That when you say, "I will," it doesn't fade with your mood. It holds, it lasts, because it's not about the mirror, it's about momentum. And the fastest way to regain momentum when your life feels stuck is to rebuild your body as an instrument of will. The body doesn't lie. It reveals what you've tolerated. Every ache, every skipped workout, every extra hour of sleep you didn't need, every meal eaten out of boredom rather than hunger, they all tell a story. Not a story of failure, but of disconnection. When your mind and your body drift apart, discipline disappears. And discipline is what holds your identity together. You can say you want to change, but until your physical actions start aligning with that vision, it's just noise. What you do with your body each day is the most honest reflection of who you are becoming. Not who you say you are, but who you are in motion. You don't need to sign up for a fitness plan or start chasing perfection. Start smaller than that. Start with 20 minutes of walking, not for cardio, for presence, for reclaiming the space between your thoughts. Start with drinking more water. Not for some trend, but to remind yourself that your body deserves care. Start with sleep, not just because rest matters, but because you can't lead yourself if you're always running on empty. These things sound simple, maybe even too simple, but when done consistently, they form the foundation of self-respect. Because every time you move, hydrate, or rest with intention, you're telling yourself, we show up now. Not someday, now. And once you've shown up for long enough, you build trust with yourself. That's where real confidence is born, not from compliments or likes or external validation. It comes from the deep inner knowing that you keep your word. You become someone who doesn't flinch when the alarm goes off. Someone who shows up at the gym even when motivation is gone. Someone who doesn't need to be in the mood to take action. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." That's the blueprint. Say it first, then act on it, even before you believe it. And here's the truth. Your body is not a punishment. It's a partner. It's the tool through which your character becomes visible. When you build strength, you're not just changing your shape, you're reinforcing your standards. Every rep becomes a vote for the person you want to be. Every drop of sweat is a quiet declaration. I'm not done yet. You're not working out to erase who you've been. You're training the vessel that will carry you where you've never been. And that requires respect, not just for aesthetics, but for ability, for endurance, for grit. This isn't about chasing extremes or competing with anyone else. It's about consistency, doing the hard, boring, often unnoticed things that compound over time. That's what builds real power. Not hype culture. Just habits, stacked one on top of the other until the results speak louder than your explanations ever could. People won't understand why you're waking up earlier, why you're passing on the easy option, why you're walking in the rain when you could stay in bed. That's fine. They don't need to understand, because this isn't for them. It's for you. Carl Jung once said, "What you do not make conscious will manifest as fate." And that includes the way you treat your body. Neglect becomes fatigue. Fatigue becomes irritation. Irritation becomes self-doubt. It's a chain reaction. But so is the opposite. Care becomes clarity. Clarity becomes confidence. Confidence becomes leadership. When you start using your body with intention, your entire mindset shifts. You stop seeing health as optional and start seeing it as essential. Because the person you're trying to become can't thrive inside a neglected vessel. So no, this isn't about punishment or perfection. It's about presence, about reconnecting your actions with your values, about remembering that the most powerful thing you can do when life feels stuck is to move, physically, deliberately, consistently. Movement breaks stagnation. And as you move, your body starts to feel like home again. Not a project to fix, but a tool to use. A signal to yourself and to the world that you're no longer waiting. You're not hoping. You're not guessing. You're building. You're doing. you're becoming. That's what rebuilding the body really means. It's not about being admired, it's about being reliable, not to others, but to yourself. And the body is where that reliability begins. It's where discipline becomes real, where transformation becomes visible, where the identity you're creating takes its first steps into the world, quietly, powerfully, one action at a time. Time isn't money. It's much more personal than that. Time is identity. It's who you become, hour by hour, choice by choice. If you want to know who you really are, don't look in the mirror. Look at your calendar. Where you place your minutes is where you place your values. And the harsh truth is, most people spend their days reacting to life rather than creating it. They wake up and check their phone before they even check in with themselves. They spend the morning doing what feels urgent, not what feels meaningful. And over time, without noticing, their days become crowded with low-impact activity, tasks that fill the space but drain the soul. But it doesn't have to be that way. You can rewrite your life by rewriting your schedule. Because your future isn't waiting out there, it's hiding in how you plan the next 24 hours. Start by looking at your calendar, if you even have one. Does it reflect the person you say you want to be, or is it just full of things you said yes to out of guilt, habit, or distraction? Most people leave their schedule to chance. They let others decide what fills their time. But reclaiming your time is the first act of reclaiming your self-respect. It's not about being busy. It's about being deliberate. A life that's overscheduled is not the same as a life that's intentional. You don't need to do more. You need to align more. Because when your schedule reflects your deepest priorities, even your quietest days feel powerful. Planning your time doesn't make you rigid, it makes you free. When you schedule silence, you get your thoughts back. When you schedule movement, you reclaim your strength. When you schedule learning, you begin to sharpen your voice. When you schedule execution, actual, focused action, you begin to build results that speak louder than your words ever could. These aren't just to-do list items. They're declarations, acts of alignment. And when they appear on your calendar in black and white, something shifts in your mind. You start to treat your growth like a responsibility instead of a vague intention. Because what gets scheduled gets lived. Don't fall for the myth that discipline kills spontaneity. It doesn't. It amplifies it. It makes space for the things that actually matter by removing the things that only feel urgent. And you don't need to fill every hour to feel progress. Even 30 focused minutes lived with intention can be more powerful than 3 chaotic hours spent chasing notifications and doing things halfway. The Stoics knew this. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Don't waste time arguing what a good person should be. Be one." The same is true here. Don't waste time planning a perfect life. Start living a structured one. Start acting like someone who respects the hours they've been given. Wake up earlier, not to impress anyone or post about it online, but to take back control from the world. That first hour of your day is sacred. It sets the tone for everything that follows. And it belongs to you, not to your inbox, not to the news, not to the demands of others. Use it to move, to reflect, to build. It doesn't need to be dramatic. It just needs to be consistent. Because how you start your day often decides whether you live from your values or just drift through your habits. That's what sovereignty means. Not being in control of everything, but being in control of yourself, especially when everything else pulls you in different directions. Carl Jung once said, "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." That one sentence is enough to rethink your whole approach to time. Because if your actions are scattered, so is your identity. But when your schedule begins to reflect clarity, your life follows. The truth is, most people don't need more motivation. They need a calendar that keeps them accountable to what they already know matters. When your values have a place to live on your calendar, they stop being ideas and start becoming habits. That's when change becomes real, not overnight, but hour by hour, week by week, you begin to become someone others admire, not because of what you post, but because of what you do. Look at your week ahead and ask, where does your highest self live in these hours? If it's not obvious, don't blame yourself. Just start adjusting. You don't need to overhaul your entire schedule today. You just need to block out 1 hour that belongs to your future, and then protect that hour like it's sacred, because it is. Once you feel what it's like to move through your day with structure instead of stress, it becomes hard to go back. The noise loses its power. The distractions feel smaller. You start choosing instead of reacting. That's the quiet superpower most people never develop. The ability to manage themselves through time. Not with rigidity, but with rhythm. Not with guilt, but with grace. This doesn't mean your days will be perfect. Life will interrupt you. People will test your boundaries. And there will be mornings when everything feels off. But when you've built a structure that reflects who you are becoming, those interruptions don't break you. They just remind you to return, to the schedule, to the center, to the vision. You don't control time, but you do control how you meet it. And if you don't design your day, your old habits will design it for you. Quietly, repetitively, until one day you wake up and realize that the person you wanted to become got buried under the weight of unplanned hours. So take the time to reclaim your time, not as a productivity hack, but as an act of personal honor. Because you only get so many days, and the way you spend them is not just about goals or success. It's about who you become in the process. The clock is always ticking, but when your calendar is aligned with your values, every minute becomes a step toward the life you're actually meant to live. Most people underestimate the power of appearance. They think it's shallow, superficial, or vain, but that's not the truth. What you wear, how you carry yourself, the way you show up, it's not about being noticed. It's about being aligned. Appearance is energy and form. It's a silent message, both to the world and to yourself. You're saying, this is who I've decided to be. And every single day, you're either reinforcing that message or watering it down. You don't need expensive clothes or a dramatic makeover. You need clarity. A quiet but firm visual signal that says, I'm done hiding. We don't always realize it, but the way we present ourselves sets the tone before we ever speak. Our posture speaks first. Our eyes, our presence, our grooming. They all say something long before our words do, and whether we like it or not, those messages shape how we're treated. More importantly, they shape how we treat ourselves. Because when you look in the mirror and see someone who looks composed, intentional, and clear, you start acting like someone with direction. That doesn't come from ego. It comes from design, from deciding who you're becoming and letting that vision touch even the smallest parts of your routine. Maybe it's simpler clothes that make decision-making easier. Maybe it's all black, not for trend, but for symbolism. Maybe it's cutting your hair to let go of something old. Maybe it's finally grooming the way you've always said you would. These aren't trivial choices. They're anchors, outer expressions of an internal shift. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And part of that journey is physical, not because you are your body, but because your body is the vehicle through which your identity takes shape. It's where the unseen becomes seen. When you upgrade how you show up, people respond differently. You'll notice it, a subtle shift in energy, a new kind of respect, not just from others, but from yourself. And that's not arrogance, that's alignment. You start walking differently because you feel different. You speak more clearly because you're not dragging around the weight of confusion. And slowly, your outer world begins to match your inner one. It's not about pretending, it's about preparing. You're dressing not for who you were, but for who you are becoming. And that version of you deserves to be seen, even if no one else understands it yet. Posture matters. The way you hold your shoulders, the way your eyes meet the world. You may think no one notices, but your nervous system does. When you slouch, avoid eye contact, or dress like you've given up, you're reinforcing an identity of invisibility. But when you adjust your stance, even slightly, when you wear something that sharpens you, that reminds you of your own potential, you start to embody it. You begin living into the identity you've been quietly building in your mind. And the beautiful part is, you don't need permission, you don't need approval, you just need the decision. There's something about clean lines, neutral tones, and simplicity that makes space for presence. When you're not distracted by how you look, you can focus on how you live. You make fewer choices about style and more about substance. You start curating your environment, your speech, your boundaries, all because you started with a small shift in how you showed up. That's the ripple effect. One subtle decision begins to echo through every part of your life. And that's why this step is powerful. Not because it's loud, but because it's foundational. Identity is built in the details, in the way you dress for a quiet morning alone, in how you groom when no one's coming over, in the small, almost invisible choices that say, "This matters because I matter." And when those choices are made consistently, they change how you move through the world. People feel it, but more importantly, you feel it. You feel more trustworthy to yourself, more dependable, more rooted in something real. That's what upgrading your appearance does. It reminds you of who you're trying to be and gives you a daily chance to step into that version, no matter what life throws at you. Plato once said, "The first and best victory is to conquer self." And often, that battle begins in the mirror. In the quiet decision to look like someone who has self-respect, even if you're still learning how to live it. This isn't fake, it's foreshadowing. You're dressing as your future self, long before you've earned every piece of the transformation. And that's not misleading, it's motivating. You're training your nervous system to recognize success, to recognize discipline, to recognize elegance and restraint and purpose. You're making it familiar so that when the results begin to arrive, they're not shocking, they're natural. It's easy to say that looks don't matter, but appearance isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional. It's about sending a signal to yourself and to the world that you're becoming someone worth listening to, someone who takes themselves seriously, even in silence. So whether it's a simple change in color palette, a sharper haircut, a more thoughtful wardrobe, or simply better posture, these shifts matter. They are acts of alignment, visible commitments to an invisible transformation. And every day that you show up like the person you're becoming, you collapse the distance between now and then. You start living the future in the present. You stop hiding behind someday and begin expressing your potential now, visibly, consistently, and without apology. Because transformation doesn't just happen in the mind. It happens in how you walk, how you carry yourself, how you dress, how you choose to be seen, even when no one is watching. Especially then, wear the future until it fits. And soon it won't feel like a costume, it will feel like home. Some people were only meant to walk with you for part of the way. And realizing that doesn't make you ungrateful. It makes you awake. One of the most difficult parts of becoming a new version of yourself is not the habits you break or the identity you rebuild. It's the people you outgrow. The ones who knew you when you were smaller, softer, less certain. The ones who bonded with you over limitations you no longer believe in. And now, as you begin to rise, as your values shift and your energy sharpens, something strange starts to happen. They laugh at your new routines. They question your discipline. They try to pull you back to who you were, not out of hatred, but out of fear. Because your growth is a mirror, and not everyone is ready to see themselves clearly. Not everyone is meant to join you at your next level. And that's not cruelty. That's clarity. People reflect back parts of us we either want to hold on to or desperately need to release. They become mirrors of our past and reminders of our potential. But when those mirrors start distorting who you're becoming, when the reflection keeps dragging you back into stories you've outgrown, it's time to put them down. You can love people and still choose not to carry them. You can remember the laughter, the loyalty, the history, and still walk away. Because if every time you grow, you feel the need to shrink just to stay in their good graces, you're not preserving a relationship. You're abandoning yourself. It's not easy. There's guilt, there's nostalgia. There's a part of you that will always wonder if you're being too harsh, too selfish, too quick to cut ties. But ask yourself this: do they still make you feel alive, or do they just make you feel known? There's a difference. Some people are comforting because they've memorized your wounds, but that comfort will cost you everything if you let it. As Seneca wrote, associate with those who will make a better man of you. Your environment isn't just where you live, it's who you surround yourself with. And if the people around you mock your effort, doubt your goals, or roll their eyes at your transformation, they've already made a decision. You just haven't made yours yet. The truth is, we often hold on to familiar faces because we fear being alone more than we fear staying stuck. But that silence you'll feel when you let go of the wrong people, it's not emptiness, it's space. Space for alignment, space for better conversations, space for voices that challenge you to rise, not retreat. Carl Jung said, loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you. That hits differently when you realize most of your energy has been spent translating your dreams to people who never had the vocabulary to understand them. Letting go isn't always loud. Sometimes it's just distance. You stop calling, you stop explaining, you stop editing your progress to make others comfortable. You let their version of you fade, not because you're bitter, but because you're busy. Busy becoming someone who doesn't need external permission to evolve. The moment you stop needing everyone to get it is the moment you gain the freedom to build it. And maybe they'll understand later, maybe they won't. But that's no longer your weight to carry. This doesn't mean cutting everyone off at the first sign of resistance. Growth doesn't require arrogance, but it does require boundaries. You have to know the difference between someone who's holding you accountable and someone who's holding you back. Between a friend who challenges your blind spots and one who mocks your ambition. The people you keep closest should feel like a mirror, yes, but not one that traps you in the past. A mirror that reflects the potential you haven't yet touched. A mirror that makes you stand taller, not shrink. Sometimes the greatest act of self-respect is walking away without needing to explain yourself. Not as a statement, but as a shift. Because you finally understood that not everyone can handle your healing, not everyone can handle your peace, not everyone will clap for your consistency when it begins to expose their avoidance, and that's okay. Let them stay where they are and rise. You will lose some people on this journey, but you will also find people who are waiting to meet this version of you. People who speak the language of vision, who don't need you to shrink in order to feel secure, who don't remind you of who you were, but walk with you toward who you're becoming. These are the people who make your evolution feel like home, and you won't find them by clinging to the past. The choice is always yours. Stay loyal to your comfort or stay loyal to your calling. You can't have both. So let the old connections fade with grace. Thank them for the role they played, but don't look back. You're not abandoning anyone. You're finally remembering yourself. And sometimes that's the most powerful goodbye you'll ever give. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your growth. You're allowed to change without broadcasting a justification, without defending your evolution to people who only ever knew the old version of you. Real transformation doesn't require applause. It requires courage, especially the courage to be seen in motion, to live in that awkward middle space where you're no longer who you were, but not yet fully who you're becoming. That space where your new habits feel unfamiliar, your voice sounds different, and your choices begin to confuse the people around you. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's necessary. Because that's where identity is forged, not in private fantasies, but in public practice. The mistake most people make is waiting until they're fully confident, waiting until the results are visible, waiting until no one questions them. But life doesn't work like that. The world rarely gives you permission to become someone new, so you have to give it to yourself. The fastest way to lock in change is to move as if the change has already happened, as if you're already the person you've envisioned. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to act in alignment with the future you believe in. That's not pretending, that's preparing. Be willing to be misunderstood. Reinvention often looks fake to people still stuck in their old patterns. They don't see your future. They only see their version of your past. So they project, they question, they doubt. But their confusion isn't your concern. Your focus is on building, not explaining. Let people talk. Let them whisper. Let them wonder who you think you are. Because the truth is, you already know you're someone who finally got tired of being a watered-down version of yourself. And now you're doing something about it. Practice your values out loud. Say no to things that once drained you. Speak more clearly, even when your voice isn't fully steady. Post what aligns with your new direction, even if it gets less likes than your old self. Show up to the gym, not to impress anyone, but to prove to yourself that discipline lives here now. Start the business, the channel, the podcast, not because you feel fully prepared, but because you're done waiting for perfect conditions. Reinvention is messy. That's what makes it real. You're not faking it, you're building it. And every day you practice being this next version of you in public, through your actions, your words, your choices, you deepen the roots of who you're becoming. People may not understand right away. Some never will. That's fine. Because this isn't a performance, it's a process. One that requires a certain level of vulnerability, of being seen trying, of being visible in the work before the results are obvious. But that visibility is part of the transformation. It's how you learn to hold your ground when the old world no longer fits and the new one hasn't fully arrived. There's a silent power in doing it anyway, in showing up without permission, in letting your new identity take shape in full view of a world that may not be ready, because that's what leadership looks like. It's not about being admired, it's about being real. About being the first to go where others are afraid to, about embodying something different even when it's easier to blend in. Seneca wrote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare, it is because we do not dare that they are difficult." Daring to change publicly removes the illusion that you need perfection before progress. Let go of the need to explain. People will catch up, or they won't. Your job isn't to drag them along. Your job is to walk, to evolve, to become, and to keep becoming, even when it feels like no one sees you. Because the right people will. The ones meant to walk with you at this new level. They'll recognize you, not because of how loudly you announce yourself, but because of how clearly you move. They'll see the energy shift, the posture change, the quiet confidence of someone who no longer negotiates with their old identity. This practice of becoming publicly isn't about proving anything. It's about presence, about taking up space in your own life, about stepping into each day with a quiet conviction that says, "This is who I am now. Watch me live it." And that living, messy, bold, imperfect, is what turns a rebrand into a reality. So stop rehearsing, stop waiting for the world to nod in agreement. Start moving like the person you've always known you could be. And don't stop. Let every step you take reinforce the identity you're building. Let every choice become a brick in the foundation of your transformation. You don't need a speech, you need a rhythm, a daily practice of authenticity, a willingness to be seen mid-process, because that's where the power is, not in the final product, but in the becoming. And the more you allow yourself to be visible in that becoming, the stronger you become, not in theory, but in truth, in motion, in form. Not every day will feel like progress. Some days will stretch, quiet, blur together. You'll question yourself, your pace, your purpose. You'll wonder if this new version of you is real, or if you're just pretending, hoping that one day it finally clicks. But here's what most people don't understand. Transformation is rarely loud. It's not fireworks. It's footsteps. Slow, steady, almost invisible. And on those days when it all feels too small to matter, that's when the shift is happening the most. So document it. Not for likes, not for validation, not to prove anything to anyone else. Do it for you, for the future version of yourself who will one day need to remember just how far you've come. Keep a journal, record voice notes on your phone, speak to yourself in videos you may never show anyone, write letters to the person you're becoming. Not because it's glamorous, but because it's grounding, because memory is fragile and self-doubt is loud. And when things finally start to change, when people begin to notice, when the work pays off, you'll need those records to remind you who built it all when no one else saw it coming. Socrates said, "Know thyself." But knowing isn't a static thing, it's a practice, and you can't know what you've erased. You can't learn from moments you've rushed through or buried under noise. The discomfort, the frustration, the ordinary effort, it matters. Documenting the process turns passing time into a map. It lets you study your own patterns. It shows you how you respond to discomfort, what you reach for when you're tired, who you become when the motivation fades and the discipline is all that's left. That kind of knowing doesn't come from reflection alone. It comes from receipts, and your future self will thank you for saving them. You don't have to be poetic or polished, just honest. Talk about the small things, the early mornings you didn't want to get up but did anyway, the moment you said no when you usually say yes, the workout you finished when your mind begged you to quit, the new boundary you set, the new clothes you tried, the new thought you practiced believing. These things may seem unremarkable now, but they are the bones of your transformation. They are the evidence that you didn't just wish for a new life, you worked for it. Writing things down, saying them out loud, capturing them in some form, that's how you bring the unconscious forward. That's how you start to recognize patterns, both helpful and harmful. It's not about documenting perfection, it's about recording presence. And sometimes your journal entry won't be inspiring. It'll be tired, uncertain, raw. That's okay. That's what makes it real. And one day when things feel heavy again, you'll look back at those messy pages and realize you've already survived worse. You've already climbed farther than you remembered. The glow-up everyone talks about. It's not in your haircut. It's not in your wardrobe. It's in your posture, your tone, the way you carry yourself when no one's watching. It's in the decisions you make when no one is clapping, when you're not sure it's working, when the outcome is still unknown. That's where identity is carved, under pressure, in silence, through repetition. Documenting that process makes it undeniable. It gives you something solid to hold when self-doubt tries to rewrite the story. It reminds you, you were there, you did that, and you're still here. There will come a time when someone asks how you did it, how you changed so much, how you built something so strong, so aligned, so unmistakably yours. And when that moment comes, you won't need to reach for inspiration. You'll have your own story. Not just the polished version, but the real one. The version filled with doubts and breakthroughs, bad days and breakthroughs, stillness and movement. That story has power, not just for others, but for you, because it keeps you connected to your roots. It reminds you why you started, what it cost, and what it's worth. This is your proof. Not the highlights, not the wins, but the process. The daily quiet choices, the mental battles, the resilience built in small, invisible moments. So keep track. Archive the shift. Make it real, not just in your mind, but in your records. Let future you look back and see not just what you achieved, but what it took to get there. Because that perspective won't just humble you when you succeed. It will strengthen you when you fall again. It will ground you in your own capacity to rise. Transformation isn't one decision, it's 1,000 quiet choices, and most of them won't be seen, celebrated, or even understood by others. But you'll know, you'll remember, because you were paying attention, you were present, and you left a trail. So when doubt whispers, when the path feels foggy, when you wonder if you're making progress at all, you'll have the receipts, the journals, the voice notes, the videos, and they will say, without a doubt, you are not the same person you were. You've done the work, you've earned this chapter. And the most beautiful part, you'll look back and realize the real transformation wasn't just what changed around you. It was who you became when no one else believed yet. But you kept going anyway. No one will ever fully understand the quiet battles you fought to become who you are now. And that's okay. Because this journey was never about being seen. It was about seeing yourself clearly, maybe for the first time. So keep going, not louder, but deeper, not to prove, but to live. And if you're still becoming, you're right on time. Watch the next video on your screen. It was made for this moment. And thank you for being a part of Stoic Journal.